Hello, darling. Yes, Mommy's in a wedding dress. I know. It's not something you see every day. So, yes, this is the wedding dress from my 2020 canceled wedding. It still looks very nice, but I have lost some weight, so it is quite roomy now. So, what happened? Let me grab a drink, because this will definitely warrant one, and pull you in a little bit closer. Okay, so what happened? And there's a fly. Chaos. My life is chaos. If my life was normal, I don't think I know what I would do. It's a very long, very insane, and very complicated story. You gonna get the bug for me? That'd be ideal. I guess I can start at the beginning of the end is the quickest and easiest way to kind of start and go about it. So in October of 2019, I was getting ready for bed. It was like October, I think 27th. I had done dishes, I had done laundry, I folded it and put it away. Typical night, I was just getting everything ready in the house, getting everything ready for work. And there's a big old fly. So if you see a big old fly, my dogs are trying to murder it for me. So, getting ready for bed, la la la. At the time, my fiance and his daughter lived with me full time. They had been living with me for several years. And it had been just a typical day. He woke up, played video games, did like his normal stuff, and was happy, watched The Office, ate food, was laughing, making jokes. Everything was normal. Normal day. We finally get ready to go to bed, and I stay up late, so it's like 11, almost midnight or so. And he had what I'll just refer to as like a mental breakdown. It was like a mental breakdown. It was seemingly out of nowhere. He had some struggles and stuff in the past, but he had been playing video games all day. He was jovial. He was eating his snacks and playing his games and watching the shows he likes, and it was just like a normal day. And he just said he couldn't do it anymore. He was just up. He was telling me he couldn't imagine going to work the next day. He was upset. He thought he wanted to commit himself to a mental health facility, which was all completely out of the blue, like completely out of the blue. And I said that was a bit of an extreme step, that we should just talk to his doctor. If he was going to not go into work, he had to hurry up and figure that out now, like call out and figure out what was going to happen with his work and everything. So I was able to calm him down enough. He did call out of work. He was able to arrange for a substitute and everything. And at that point, I was still planning on trying to go into work, and he was going to go to see his doctor. And then in the morning, he was not in a great mental place. He was very anxious. I was afraid of him driving, so I had to hurry. I called out of work very last minute, and I drove him to the doctor's, and we had a doctor's appointment. And at that point, they thought that getting committed was a bit of an extreme step. Like I said, they recommended some medication. So he started medication, and he took a mental health leave from work for about like a month or so. So he started that medication. Everything was kind of going well. That medication didn't really work out for him. So then we tried a different medication. That one worked out a lot better. And he eventually started going back to work after about a month or so. And his daughter was here for most of it, but she didn't know the extent of how things were, that he thought he wanted to get committed and everything. And so like that's where things landed. And things were better. He was on his medication. The medication was working out really well. He wasn't having any bouts of anxiety or depression. He was back at work. He was doing everything he was going to do. Winter came around, so like Christmas is around. We have all of our holiday events. I went out and went with my mother and sister and went wedding dress shopping since we were getting married in August. We had already booked our venue and everything in the previous summer. So everything had already been booked and was in place, and we had put in deposits, and I got this dress. I loved my wedding dress. I was very happy. I went out with my mother and sister. My mother actually paid for my dress as a wedding gift, and everything was good. And then a few months after that, the pandemic kind of hit New Jersey. It had been happening and there was like murmurs, but then that's when New Jersey and Philadelphia started to shut down. And that's when he started having some more anxiety about everything that was going on. So now the pandemic has shut down Philadelphia and New Jersey. And so we were all at home, me, my fiance, and his daughter, who was in college. I say daughter, and you might think someone much smaller, but she was only 11 years younger than I was. She was, I think, in her junior year of college at the time for nursing. She was a very wonderful person. So everything was great in that sense. Like, she was home. She was having to do her schooling from home. She had a job in a hospital, but the hospitals were very touch and go. Things were hit or miss. In the beginning, she was still going to work, but then she wasn't going to work because she had to stay home. And so we were all home. So we're home. I'm gearing up to go buy groceries. So he was very anxious about everything, and I'd always bought all the groceries anyway. So I would go out and buy groceries. I was making homemade bread. Since everyone was doing school from home, I would take the dogs out and try to, like, my job during the day was keeping the dogs quiet. I would make food. I would make breakfast and lunch and dinner like I usually did anyway. I just kept the house tidy, and I just kind of like managed the house. And he was happy. He was fine. At one point he said this was the happiest he had ever been in his life, and he felt really guilty for that because he knew people were sick and dying from the coronavirus, and he felt so guilty. And I consoled him and told him that, like, it's okay to feel these things. Like, you can be happy. Our little bubble, like, was a happy bubble, so that's okay. And then a few days after that, he expressed not wanting to take his medication anymore. And I was very much against that. I said, I don't think that's a good idea with all, like, the stressors and everything coming up. Like, we didn't know what was happening with our wedding at the time. At that point, we thought maybe it would still happen. Maybe it would get postponed. Of course, the virus itself, not knowing when we would go back to work or what was happening. My job was, I was on unemployment for about a month when my job didn't know what was happening with me. He was just teaching from home. His daughter was learning from home. Her job was now on hold, and she was getting unemployment as well. And we didn't know what was going to happen. So with all that chaos, it doesn't seem like a great time to be managing your medication or messing with your medication. So I said we should talk to the doctor. So we talked to the doctor, and the doctor agreed. You gonna sleep in my wedding dress wrapper? Sleep in my broken dreams? Okay. So now he's saying he wants to stop taking his medicine. So we called the doctor. Doctor says that's not a good idea, especially with the upcoming wedding and all these stressors and everything. It's not a good idea to be messing with your medication. And he tells me this. I'm like, okay, great. No messing with the medication. We'll just keep things as we're going. Okay. And then things changed. He started drinking tequila, like a lot of tequila, which was something he had never done before. We were together for 5 years, and this was an entirely new behavior. I had had a bottle on hand because, like, I would host parties and stuff, so, like, you just have, like, options available. And he finished that bottle rather quickly, and then when I was out buying groceries on my big, giant grocery runs, he would ask me to get tequila, so I got tequila at, like, BJ's, because it was the cheapest place to get it, and I was there buying all the bulk stuff anyway. So I got, like, 3 bottles, and then they would disappear really quickly. Like, he would go through one every 5 days, which is a lot, like a very fast pace for him. And then we went on a dog walk one night. So he had become antagonistic at this point. So our dog walks, we would occasionally argue, which he called falks, fighting dog walks. So we would go on our falks so we could fight without his daughter being, like, stuck listening to us. So we go out on a normal dog walk. It's just supposed to be a dog walk, just a normal dog walk. We each have a doggie. I have 2 Pomeranians. And we're walking, and I look up, and I make a comment. I'm like, wow, I feel like you can see a lot more stars than you can normally see in our area. Like, we just live in a little town. So it's like, we do have streetlights and stuff, and the city's right across the bridge. So there's a lot of light pollution. So I said, like, am I crazy, or can you see more stars? And he says, like, oh, well, maybe all the, like, light pollution, all the car pollution's making it so we can actually see some more. And I said, wow, we really are ruining the planet, aren't we? Like, haha. Which I am kind of I hesitate to say, like, hippie. Like, I compost, I recycle, I'm big on all that stuff. So I just, like, as like a dark, like, haha, we're, like, joking. Like, I didn't mean it super serious or to have like a serious discussion. I just like said it. And then he says, well, actually, the fact that you're saying that the world had a perfect state, like a good state, is proof that God exists, because that's implying that the Garden of Eden was real. And therefore, like, you believe in God. And I was just like, uh-oh. That's not at all like a logical jump from there. And I quickly just said, like, hey, I just wanted to have a nice little dog walk. Like, let's just walk the dogs. I don't want to have a fight or anything, or that's not really what I'm kind of getting on about right now. Can we just have a nice dog walk? And he's like, okay. So we walk like 1 block. And then he brings it up again. And he says, like, sometimes I just like to gnaw on the bone. And he wants to talk about this conversation, and I keep shutting it down. And he's mad at me for shutting down this conversation. He says he wants to like gnaw on the bone. And he's mad at me for not letting him like gnaw on the bone, like just pick on this idea. And I said, you can go pick on the idea with like some of your friends or whatever. Like, if your friends enjoy this philosophical, like deep debate thing, fine. But like at this point, I was trying to keep like our family sane and together and taking care of the dogs. I'm making bread. And I don't know what's going to happen in my job. So like, I'm not in a great place to just be here having like this philosophical, deep kind of argument and conversation right now. And he won't let it go. And he says he will, but he won't. And so eventually I just take the dog on walking, and we go across the street separate from him, and we walk home separately. We meet up front of the house before we go into the house, because I didn't want to have a fight in front of his daughter, who's also like stuck here in the pandemic. That is my dress. That is my dress. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, so I don't want you to like wreck it. I don't know if I want to sell it. It's a whole complicated. Okay. So we get to the front of the house. We kind of make up. I don't really remember how, but we end on like kind of good terms, and we go into the house. But that was like the beginning of it. Like, he, at this point, had stopped taking his medicine. I did not know it yet, but he stopped taking his medicine. He was drinking tequila. He started smoking a lot of pot. And okay, so now I got pepper in my lap. Okay. So at this point, unbeknownst to me, he had stopped taking his medication. Like, surprise. He was drinking, and he was smoking a lot of pot. And it got so bad. It just got so bad. So I tried to manage things as best I could. And I got to do like a little bit of work from home. Like, my job is, I mostly do graphic design and printing. So like I mostly just did a couple design things from home, because I can't operate the machinery from a remote location. So one rare occasion, I had a design job to do. So I had told him the night before, like, I was like, hey, well, normally I make you breakfast and stuff in the morning, but tomorrow I have to wake up and I have to do some work too. And he's like, oh, okay. So I come downstairs, I'm doing some work. He had already woken up before me, and he was downstairs doing his online schooling. So he always woke up before me. He was very early to rise all the time, and he had early classes. So he was already awake. He was downstairs doing his work in the basement. I was on the ground floor doing my design work. So when he came up from the basement, he was like, oh, you're here. And I said, well, yeah, remember last night I told you I had to do some design work? He's like, oh, well, I didn't expect you to be down here. And that was like an odd thing. And then from there, I started making breakfast for myself. I was making myself some food. And he came up and he was upset. He was upset that I wasn't making him food. And I said, well, I figured you had gotten up before me and you were doing everything, so I figured you had already eaten. Did you not eat? Are you hungry? And he accused me of going out of my way to be like mean to him by not making food for him, which of course was not the case. I was just making myself breakfast. I came downstairs. I was doing work. He was in the basement. I wasn't going to disturb him while he was streaming for his school or whatever. So I'm like, well, no, but like, I'll make you food. So I make him food. He goes and he eats it, and we eat food, and then he goes back down. He does more teaching, and I go back and I do more work. And then he comes up again, and he's like, you look angry. And I'm just sitting at my computer. I'm in my little work area. It's my computer station. Like, I'm just there. I'm just like, well, I'm not angry. Maybe I have like resting bitch face because I'm focusing on my work, but I'm just working. He's like, well, look, you look angry. It's making me upset. Could you smile? Could you smile while you work? Why should I just sit here smiling at my screen when you just walk up casually to see me? Like, I'm telling you, I'm not angry. This isn't like a trap. I'm not trying to like lie to you. That's stupid. Like, I'm working. Like, that's all I'm doing. I'm working. And he's upset. And then he insinuates that I need to have like a sign. I have to put a sign in front of my workstation that says when I'm working so that he can know I'm working and I'm not mad. And I'm like, oh God, like, oh no, like, this is not good. Like, I knew this was wrong, but I'm like, oh my God, like, what do I do? So I'm just like, okay, well, I need to work. Like, I need to get my job done. And my design job, I was just doing like a quick design. Again, he was downstairs teaching, so he was away. My sister, who was also from home at the time, I just sent her a picture of the design I was working on to get her opinion. She also does artsy stuff, so like we send each other pictures of like what we're doing. So like she sees it and she gave me some feedback, and I was like, okay, cool. So I made some changes. And then he comes back up again and he wants to see it. So like he's like, oh, well, let me see. So I showed it to him. And he saw that I had a chat window with my sister up, and he saw that I had sent it to my sister for an opinion, and he got mad at me. He got mad at me for asking my sister for an opinion and not him. And I'm like, well, you were busy. I don't know what to tell you. Like you were busy. I was just doing Amanda was just there. I was talking to her. I just sent her the picture. Like, that's it. And so at that point, a smoke alarm started going off, and I got frustrated. I got up and I got the smoke alarm. I turned it off, and I was like, you know what? Like, never mind. Like, just go away. I was irate. I was like tired at that point. I was just like, nothing I can do today is like winning. So like, whatever. I'm done. So then he starts yelling at me, saying that I'm like an anger monster. Like I take my frustrations out on him, that my job frustrates me so much that I should quit my job, and that he can't stand how I get so angry when I work, which is complete news to me. Like, I don't even work from home most of the time. Like, I had done maybe two jobs from home the entire like month that I was like on unemployment, trying to figure out what was going to happen with this and everything. He wasn't helpful or supportive at all during those moments. He didn't want me to do my work. He didn't want to help me focus on the work or anything. And now he was telling me that I had been some sort of like secret rage monster this whole time, like for our entirety of our relationship. And he wanted me to quit my job, which of course I was not going to do. Like, first of all, like, I don't even know what's going to happen with my job. And then we couldn't survive on just his income. At this point, there's like a whole elaborate thing, but like he was just paying me $1,000 rent a month. That's all he was paying me to cover him and his daughter, and that's it. He paid for the cable internet. So cable internet, and that is all he paid for everything. I did food, I did all the toiletries, I did all the cooking, I did everything else. All the other bills, the utilities, mortgage, everything. He gave me just $1,000 a month and paid the internet bill. And he didn't even pay me on time. He would pay the internet bill on time. He would always point that out. I never didn't pay the internet bill, but he would give me like rent checks that would be like March, April, May. It'd be like 3 months out. He wouldn't have paid me. So I'd get like a check for like $3,000, like 3 months late. So I would be carrying the family. On that, we couldn't survive. We couldn't survive off of his salary because he was really bad with his money. So no, I'm not quitting my job. Why would I quit my job? He got very angry at me, started screaming at me. And then this was in the midst of the pandemic, and it was like really like the height of it. Like, we didn't know what was happening or anything, and I was getting so upset. And he kept trying to get me to quit my job, and I wouldn't quit my job. And at one point, he yelled at me, and I went to leave. I was just like, this was too much. I had to leave. So I grabbed my car keys, and I went to leave. Like, no coat, no cell phone, no nothing. It's like the winter. It's like March-ish. Like, I think it was like in March, January, February, March. February, March is like when this all started happening. And I said, fine, I'll leave the house that I pay for, that I take care of. Like, fine, I'll leave. Like, that was antagonistic. I admit that. But like, it was my house. It's always been my house. You pay me $1,000 to live here. So I said that, and he darts across the room, blocked the door with his hand that I was trying to leave out of, got in my face, and started yelling at me, antagonizing me, saying like, do you want me to leave? And I said, let go of the door. Do you want me to leave? Like, screaming in my face. Like, he had never done this, anything even remotely like this in our whole 5 years together. It was very upsetting. And I was, at that point, I had like a flash before me, and I thought, like, this is the moment I enter Lifetime movie, like, time. Like, he's gonna hit me. Like, I really thought he might hit me at that moment, and I was just shaking, and I didn't know what to do. Eventually, he took his hand off the door. I left. I got out the door. I had my car keys, and like, that was it. I didn't have my purse. I didn't have money. I didn't have my cell phone. Nothing. So I just got in my car. I didn't even know. I didn't want to go to my family and like tell them about this because I was embarrassed and I was upset. So I was embarrassed. I was upset. I didn't want to go to my family's house and tell them about this because I didn't want them to. I knew he was not right. I knew he was not on his medication. I just at that point thought that it was just the medication's problem. Like, he went off his medication. He's on all these other different things. He's got no routine. He's in like a manic phase. So I didn't want people to judge him for being in that manic phase. So I tried to keep it to myself for a while. So I drove to a train station parking lot, and I just sat in the parking lot for about an hour, and I cried. And I had a pen and some brown packing paper that was just left over in my car, because my car's not usually clean. It's kind of a mess. And I tried to write like a list of pros and cons about like what the situation was. And I still have that list in the other room. I didn't get very far because my pen started to die. It was like stuff like, I love him very much, but I don't feel safe. He's trying to get me to quit my job, and that's very alarming. He's not in his right mind. This isn't who he is. Like stuff like that was being written on my list. And I was shivering because like it was winter. I didn't take my coat or anything. I was just like, I was working from home in my pajamas. So I'm just like in my pajamas, in my car, in the train parking lot. And there was like a few cars there. Like some people were still taking the trains at that point. And I didn't know what to do. And so after about an hour, I came home. And I walked in, and I'd already made lunch before all this had happened. Like I had made breakfast for us, and we ate together, and I made lunch. And I walked into him and his daughter and his daughter's boyfriend eating the lunch I had made. They just were eating it at the stove. And he started to approach me. And I told him, no, I didn't come to talk to you. I just came because I don't have my phone. I don't want to talk to you. And he followed me. Anyway, he barricaded me upstairs in the bedroom. He blocked me in and started arguing, saying that I was a broken person, that I needed help, that he was tired of like dealing with me, and all these different things that were completely out of the blue. Like this person just told me this was the happiest he had ever been like a week before all of this happened. Like he cried. He was so upset about that. Like he was like, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. And he cried. And here he was telling me all these things, and none of it made any sense. And I didn't even know what to do. And I kept telling him, like, I don't even know where this is coming from. Like, what are you even talking about? And then he brought up that he wanted me to go to therapy. And I was never a person opposed to therapy. Like, and he brought it up as if it was some sort of ultimatum. Like, it's something that I would have said no to, and that I was going to, like, be, like, a deal breaker or something. I said, like, well, it's the beginning, like, it's a pandemic. I can't really go to an office with somebody and start therapy, like, right now. It's like, what do you expect me to do? Like, I can go on BetterHelp, like at betterhelp.org, and like talk to someone who's like, oh, that's not real therapy. Starts yelling at me that he doesn't acknowledge that as real therapy. And I reiterated, well, what are my options right now? So he kept yelling at me and berating me, saying like I was a bad person. And it just got overwhelming. And I don't think it was that day. I think it was the next day. So like at that day, I stayed in bed. After he had like barricaded me in the bedroom, I just stayed in bed. And I didn't leave to eat. I didn't eat the rest of that day. I didn't drink the rest of that day. I just like stayed in bed. And I downloaded BetterHelp on my app, like the app on my phone. And I got connected to a counselor right away. And when he was out of earshot, I was doing verbal like recordings. Like you can record audio and send audio clips to your counselor, because my hands were shaking so much I couldn't type. And that night he started yelling at me again. And I just had a panic attack. Like I just started screaming, like not even words. Like words didn't come out. It was just like screaming, like just noise. And it wasn't like a horror movie, like blood curdling, like he's hurting me scream. It was just like an overwhelming, like I needed to stop scream. And I told him, like, I have nothing left in me right now. Like, you have to leave me alone. Get away from me. Like, I can't handle anymore. And he's like, oh, you can handle more than you think. You can handle more than you think. And everything I said, he had like an answer for. And I screamed, and my arms kind of like went numb. Like they kind of like clawed up like little like dinosaur hands, but they stayed down. It wasn't like theatrical. And I lost a lot of my dexterity and function for like about a 24-hour period. I felt like my chest, like there's those like cartoon like stretcher things I use in like workout videos. It's like handles and like springs, like stretch, like I'm strong. I felt like my chest was that, and it was just stretched out beyond capacity. Like I felt like my skin, even on like my chest, was just like stretched. And I had a hard time breathing, and I was hyperventilating. And instead of like trying to help me or doing anything, he belittled me and said that I was fine. I need to like knock it off. And when I told him, like, look, like, I think I'm having a panic attack. Like, when words came back, like, I was like, I think I'm having a panic attack. He's like, oh, you've done stuff like this before. which I have definitely not in my 30 years of life not had that happen before. I've been through some stuff, but like that's never happened before. Like I have a thing where if I get scared, I love horror movies. I can handle those kind of scares, but like if someone enters the room abruptly and like I get like a surprise that way, like almost like a jump scare, I kind of faint, but not really. Like my heart just like feels like it's like a balloon that popped. And once my knees got weak and I buckled and I fell. I didn't lose consciousness or anything, but like I fell. And that's happened a handful of times in my life. But those aren't the same thing. Like I don't lose consciousness. I don't lose the ability to like verbalize. I don't lose dexterity and like the use of my arms. So no, like that had never happened before. And that was the first night that he didn't sleep in the same bedroom as me. Like he went somewhere else and he slept, I guess, on the couch. I didn't come downstairs until the cover of darkness to make sure the dogs had been fed and stuff, because I'm the one that takes care of everything in the house. And since I had been like bedridden and trapped in the bedroom for over 24 hours, nothing was getting done. Like water bowls were empty for my dogs and stuff. And I didn't want them to suffer. And I was worried about his daughter, but she ended up going to her boyfriend's. So that was good. Eventually. So this is what had happened. So that's where things left. He didn't sleep in the same room as me that night. And that morning he comes up and I've just been in bed this whole time. Like I'm covered in sheets. Like I can't get warm no matter how many sheets I'm putting on myself. I'm like in a cold sweat. I don't understand. I just keep telling him I don't understand. Like the therapist doesn't know. The therapist thought that I was like in danger. But then he wasn't like a great therapist. Like I had to go through a couple people on BetterHelp to find someone who could actually help me, because the first person was like, oh, some self-care, like get yourself a pint of Ben & Jerry's and take a bubble bath. Like, yeah, that will definitely help me. I'll go eat some ice cream in the bathtub, and when my fiance screams at me to quit my job and I'm a terrible person and is like unrelentingly just going after me, that'll boost me. Like, thanks. So at that point, he came back in and he was like trying to cuddle, like out of nowhere. Like he had been mean to me and attacking me for like days on end at this point. And he wanted to cuddle. He was like trying to cuddle with me in the bed, not like sexually or anything. Like he was trying to just like snuggle. And I was like, I am not in a place for this right now. I can't do this. Like I have nothing left in me right now. Like I'm a husk right now. I can't offer you anything. I need to heal myself before I can do anything to like cuddle and like comfort you. And he got mad and started yelling at me, and then threatened me with he was going to leave. He was going to go to his dad's. And he was teaching from home. So like all of his equipment to film and everything, like I bought him microphones, because like that's probably the other problem later. But like I bought him stuff. So like he had a whole setup in the basement. So I was like, that's ridiculous. Just go to the basement and do your job and like work, and I'll stay up here and we'll just stay away from each other. Like we have 3 floors of house. There's like upstairs, ground floor, and basement. Let's just stay away from each other. And he's like, well, no, I'm going to go to my dad's. And I'm like, well, I'm not telling you to leave. I'm not forcing you to leave. I don't want you to leave. But if you want to leave, like that's fine. I'm not forcing you to stay. So he decides he's going to go to his dad's. And halfway down the stairs, I hear him turn and I hear like the aggressive steps coming back. So I'm like, oh no, bad coming back. So he comes back and he says I should be thanking him. He's angry. He's like, I don't want to leave. And I should be thanking him for leaving because he doesn't want to leave. And I said, then don't leave. I told you don't leave if you don't want to leave. Just stay in the basement and do your work. Like why disrupt like the whole situation? Like I don't understand. And he decided like, okay, well he's going to leave and go to his dad's, but he'll come back for dinner. Maybe we just need a break from each other. Like whatever. So he leaves. And for the first time, like I'm able to calm down. I'm not being like attacked. I don't have to worry about him like coming in the room and like going after me or anything. Like not physically, but just like yelling at me like unrelentingly. Unrelentingly just like telling me like I'm the problem, like everything in his life all of a sudden. And so like I'm able to like breathe. I got a shower for like the first time in a while. I drank water while I was in the shower just from the shower head because I was dehydrated. I had just been like sweating like crazy and crying off and on and talking to like the BetterHelp people. I put on some like workout clothes and I go out and I take the dogs for a walk because like they haven't really been taken care of by anybody while I was upstairs. And so that's where we are right now. So like I'm taking the dogs for a walk. I'm like, okay, I can breathe. Okay. Then I get a message on my phone while I'm out walking the dogs. I'm like far out. And, like there's another town next door, so it's not like crazy far. It's like I'm like 20 something blocks from home, taking them for a nice long walk. and it says, I'm not coming home. I'm going to stay at my dad's. And I'm telling my daughter to leave too. And I'm like, well, I don't want you to do anything that makes you uncomfortable. I'm not forcing you to leave if that's what you want to do. Like, I want you to do whatever's most comfortable for you and your daughter. I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. So I start getting upset and I walk home and I talk to my sister on the phone. I'm like, I tell her everything. I tell her all the stuff that's been going on. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm lost. I don't know. And his daughter saw that I didn't want to do this in the house and like have her hear how I thought her father was manic and basically lost his mind. So like I was talking to my sister on the phone out front. And I guess she thought that I was manic because she didn't realize I was on the phone with my sister. She contacted her dad and said that I was on the lawn cursing and yelling, which I was very upset, and I was cursing on the phone with my sister. I'm not going to say like I was completely composed and didn't look like a crazy person. Like, I'm sure I probably looked very upset and crazy. And so she does her laundry. She packs up all of her stuff. She doesn't interact with me. She just gets all her stuff. She had a chinchilla here who I got her. I got her a chinchilla as like her first ever, only for her pet, as part of her high school graduation present. So she starts packing up the chinchilla and she just leaves, and she sends me a text saying, Ghost, who is the chinchilla, who I help take care of and stuff, like, Ghost says bye. That's like it. Like, I took care of her for like 3 years. I fed her. Like, all the food came from me, all the bills, all the Christmas presents. I hosted her high school graduation. Like, I hosted every one of her birthday parties. I made homemade cakes for her. Like, I loved this girl. And I was really like all in. I wasn't like an official stepmom or anything. So that was like, it's a weird thing to play. Like, I'm 11 years older than you. At that point, she had already had a previous stepmom that didn't work out. Her parents both had like boyfriends and exes that didn't work out. She has like a sibling that had a different parent and everything. So she'd been through the ringer. I recognize that. And I know that I was just kind of like a blip in her life. I was like a 3-year stint. Like, she lived with me for 3 years and then like, whoop, like I'm gone. So like, I know that, and it sucks for me. Like, I don't hold that against her. I understand it. But like, I was really like all in. I loved this girl. And I had written her a very nice birthday card before all this happened. And it was very hurtful for me to have her just like disappear, just like completely just like gone. And meanwhile, we're supposed to be getting married in August, and it's now April. So like, it's the end of April. He just walked out and left. He told his daughter to walk out and leave. I had just bought like $400 worth of groceries and had to like go out and get all these groceries that were specifically for them, things that they eat that I don't, like Mountain Dew and Mio water enhancers and all sorts of stuff that I stocked up on for them. So here I am sitting in my house, surrounded by all this food I just bought them. That's all gonna go bad. She went off to live with her boyfriend for a while, which was good because he's a good guy and he was stable. So like, I understood that. Here he went off to his father's and he was just gonna stay at his father's. And like, here I am just like trying to figure out what the hell is happening. And our wedding is in August. It's April 29th. He walked out. This is my life. And our August wedding, who knows what's gonna happen. So there was a lot of back and forth. I was trying to get him to go to therapy. I was very much pushing for couples therapy because at this point, I was pretty sure he was manic. I wanted him to go back on medication. I refused to let him come live back in the house unless he went back on his medication as prescribed. He refused, but he didn't even really want to come back in the house. Nothing was really like, I want to come home. Like, never anything like, I want to come home. He was having fun. Like, while the cat's away, the mice will play kind of situation. Like, I was his fiance, but also like his mommy. Like, I'm the one that made sure that he ate a vegetable. I'm the one that made sure he brushed his teeth at night. I'm the one that took care of him. So that was not a great relationship looking back. Can you lay down? Am I interrupting you? Do you like the story? Do you remember any of this? So that's where we are. So it's the end of April. It's beginning of May. He walks out. Like, he's gone. He didn't even take anything. He didn't take his clothes. He didn't take anything. Like, toothbrush, toothpaste, nothing. He just, like, walked out. He's just gone. His daughter packed up all of her legit things and her pet and the cage and everything for her pet. And she's just gone. But hers makes sense. She's got her stuff. She'll be okay. He has nothing. So thank God my job decided all of a sudden, like that day as everything's like falling apart, send me a message being like, hey, can you come into the city and do some actual physical work? And I was like, for the love of God, yes. I was like, yes, I can come in and do some physical work. Yes, please. Like, thank you. So I go into the city and I'm doing some work only for a few hours. It's only for a short period of time. We only had a couple jobs to do, and you have to run the machinery and actually produce the work. So I know how to do all that, and so does my coworker. So I do that. And while I'm there, he sends me a message being like, hey, I'm going to come by the house and grab some things. And me being an idiot, I had made him like a little care package to be like, I care about you. Like, here's all the stuff that you need. Like, I hope we work this out. So it has like the stuff he needs and everything. So I guess he found that. He sent me like a text like, thanks for the care package. And then as I'm getting ready to come, I'm like, hey, like I'm getting ready to come home from work. Like, what's the deal? Do you not want to like see me? Do like what's going on? And he said, oh, well, can you hang out there? I'm not ready yet. So I stayed at work longer so he could figure himself out because he didn't know what to take. He said he was very confused about what he should be taking. And I said, well, clean underwear, clothing. I just did a load of laundry. Like, you have clean clothes on top of your dresser. Like, I just did laundry. Like, the night he left, I was up till midnight folding laundry, being like, oh, I'll give him clean laundry because I'm an idiot. So I give him like a list, like, okay, well, you like to drink his green tea. You like your green tea and your coffee and all your stuff. So like all these are the things you use every day. This is the stuff I do for you every day. And he is like, okay. And then he finally gets done and I finally come home. So like I come home and part of me is like hoping for something. Like I'm hoping for anything. Like we have a chalkboard wall. I'm like, maybe he'll write a message on the chalkboard wall to me and be like, I love you. We'll make this work or something. Or maybe there'll be a note on my desk, like a post-it note or something like I love you or something. And I come home and there's nothing. Like there's nothing. And then he left me dirty coffee mugs, not even in the sink or like in the dishwasher. He left them just like on the counter. Like he accumulated a bunch of dirty coffee mugs in the time he was here and just left them there for me to take care of. And like that was like a slap in the face. It was like it was a slap to reality. It's like I was sitting here, I was like, I thought that the person that I loved was gonna try to do something, give me some hope, something, and he gave me like nothing. And I was talking to the BetterHelp app person every single day at this point, multiple times a day. We had a set phone call and we were talking on the phone and we were going through all this. And at first they were very helpful and they were giving me ideas of what to do. And I was trying to, and they gave me some exercises, like write down your wants and needs in a relationship, and if your wants and needs of each other don't match up, then that's something you need to focus on and stuff. So I asked him, I contacted him, I'm like, hey, like I'll make your favorite dinner. I already bought all the ingredients, like I had all the stuff to make them the food they like and everything, so I'll make your favorite dinner, you can come over and we'll try to do this exercise together. And he was like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like he's kind of like, he's playing video games, he's having fun, he's smoking a bunch of pot, like he doesn't care, so he was having fun. So I'm like, oh my god. So I make his favorite dinner, pot roast, like make pot roast and potatoes and carrots. And I write down my list of all the things for the exercise. And I'm anxious, I'm nervous about it and everything. And one of my needs is for him to take his medication as prescribed. He can't just keep like playing with it and nibble this and nibble of that and mix it with this and mix it with that. And so like I'm sitting here and he shows up late and I asked him if he did the exercise and he didn't. He said he didn't do it on purpose. And we sit down to dinner. So we sit down to dinner and we eat. And I say like, well, these are my points for the exercise. And I try to have the discussion, like bring up my points and like be like, we have to talk about this and fix this. And he starts getting frustrated the second I bring up the medication one. Like that was like the linchpin that just like set him off. And he was yelling at me that I don't get the right to tell him about his medication or his medical history. I have no reason to have any say in any of that. And then he says like, well, you know what? I have a conference call. I have to go. So at that point, I just broke and I just started crying. So I'm like, you're throwing like our relationship away. Like you didn't even tell me you had a conference call for work, or is it just an excuse for you to leave? Like you're not trying to like save this 5-year relationship at all. We've lived together for you've lived in my house for 3 years. I took care of your daughter for 3 years. We have a wedding venue booked that's non-refundable. I have a fucking wedding dress that's non-refundable, non-returnable. We have all this stuff. We have a life together. We had our dogs together, and you can't even do the exercise or show interest or even care. And you're like, I got places to be, like, bye. like trying to leave, and just so I just start crying. And then he like comforted me a bit, but he didn't really say anything to truly comfort. Like he just basically like was like, there, it's okay. And then he asked me if he could take leftovers home for his dad. And I'm an idiot, and so I did. I packed up leftovers for his dad, and then he left. And that was where we left things for a while. And he refused to go on his medications. Then we went and we met up again. I walked around the river with him to meet up and talk. So I met up and talked, and he was very manic. He was not making linear sense. And in our talk, he lost his cell phone walking on the river, so we had to walk back and get it. And I had to bring his coat because he didn't even take his coat when he came to get his things. So like I brought his coat, and he had to try to put his coat on. And it was just like a mess. And I even brought like an ice cream because I bought all these ice creams and stuff for him and his daughter that they liked that I had in my fridge. Like I don't eat like Snickers ice cream bars. Like I don't really like peanuts. Like I prefer Milky Way. So I had all these Snickers. So I brought Snickers ice cream bars. I'm like, we'll sit by the river. Like we'll have ice cream and we'll talk and we'll like try to work things out. Again, doesn't work out. He starts saying all sorts of stuff about what he wants to do and like his dreams and aspirations that none of them of which involve me at all. And he doesn't mention his daughter at all, doesn't seem to care about where she is or how she's doing or like any of this. And I bring up again the medication. Again, that ends very badly. He asked me to give him a ride home because he had walked there. So he gets in my car and I bring it up again because it was important to me that he get right. He was very obviously manic. He needed something to stabilize him. He was not stable. And he got mad and he got out of my car and he slammed the door and he was screaming at me again. So I locked the doors because I gotta protect myself. So he screamed at me through the doors and then he got mad when he tried to open the door and I had it locked and I had the windows up and everything. He's like, I don't know what he's gonna do. I'd already thought he was gonna hit me at the one point. I wasn't gonna give him the opportunity to hit me again or hit me, period. I should preface, hit me at all. He did not hit me. I thought he was going to, but he did not. So he got upset that I had locked the doors and closed the windows and stuff. And I opened it just like a little bit, like this bit. And he's like, are you serious? Like, come on. Like, and I said, I don't know what to tell you. Like you won't take your medication. You're obviously not in a good place. You're making bad decisions. Like he had been spending his money like water, like his entire savings was gone. Like it's just gone. He bought everything. Like all these gadgets and electric scooters and things. And I knew that he was just burning through his money. I knew he was smoking and drinking. I knew he was trying to make YouTube videos and they were getting very alarming. They were getting very nutty. He's working on his nest. At this point, he had gotten out of my car. I locked him out. He got upset. He started yelling at me. I refused to let him into the car again. He wouldn't calm down. So he just walked off into the night. And I just drove home. We had another attempt. I made his favorite dinner again, like a few weeks after that. He came over. He ate the dinner. I tried to talk. He didn't want to talk. He fell asleep here on my couch that I'm sitting on now. He fell asleep with the dogs. And I sat there and I just looked at him and I looked at the dogs and like the dogs were they were happy because like we were together again and that's what they've known. Like we adopted Pepper I adopted Pepper while we were together. That was a whole nother thing. So I tried to make it work again and he didn't want to. So like after he woke up, he took leftovers home to his dad again and he's just gone. So he doesn't want to work on this. It's just getting bad. So then I'm just living my life. I'm like working part-time in the city, going back in and stuff. So I get a phone call from him and he's not quite right in his mind, but he's crying and he's nice and he's sympathetic at this point. He's being nice. And he says he misses me. And he says that he had a moment where he just like he sobbed and his father held him and that's all he ever wanted in life. And that he wouldn't have had that opportunity had we not had this fight. And maybe it was like a sign that all this was meant to happen. And that he loved me and he wanted to go buy sushi, which is like a thing. Like I taught him how to eat sushi. I taught him how to use chopsticks. So it's like kind of like a thing that we have. So he was like, I want to get sushi and like you and I can have a sushi date and like we'll work this out, Mushk, because he called me Mamushka. And I was really happy. I felt really happy. I was like, oh, finally, like a break in the storm, like the eye of the storm. Like it's a little glimpse of like him I knew him to be. Like maybe this will be okay. And then he goes like, I just want to be completely honest. I've been talking to someone else and I like them as more than a friend. And I'm like, well, what? I was like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? And he said, well, that means you can't look at my phone because that's an invasion of privacy. And I'm like, like, oh, that was just like the dagger to the heart. Because like this whole time I knew he was manic. I knew he wasn't in his right mind, but I never suspected him of trying to like be with anyone else during this time. Especially during a pandemic, he was very, very hyper anxious about anything regarding the pandemic. When I used to go out and buy groceries, like we had to have like a whole decontamination routine because he was very nervous about the pandemic. So here he was talking to strangers and like possibly hooking up with strangers in the midst of the pandemic. And the whole while I'm trying to get him to go to therapy and he's refusing and he's refusing and he's refusing. He's telling me he's too busy. He's telling me all this horrible stuff. And meanwhile, he's been having enough time to flirt and talk to other people and like sext people that I can't look in your phone. Not that I wanted to, but that's not, I just asked for clarification. Like, what does that mean? And that was the answer I got, which was not at all desired. So I was like, that's, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, what does that even mean? The whole time you saying that you can't go to therapy and you didn't want to go to therapy and all this stuff, and you were talking to other people and you were doing that behind, like, we're supposed to get married in August. Like, we were supposed to get married. Like, we're not just like dating or something. You've been living in my house. We've been engaged for over like a year and a half. And we were supposed to, we have a date. We have a venue. It's the venue that he liked. Like, I didn't care for this venue. It's the venue that he and my mom really liked. Like, that's why I acquiesced to it. Because it's not like I was a little girl that like dreamed of my wedding. I was never really an overly romantic person. I've had really terrible relationships, which I think this is a pretty good indicator how my previous relationships went. If I thought this was the good one, this is the one forever, right? Just like, so yeah, so I'm like, fuck, like, now what? So we hang up and I'm very upset. The next day, like, he doesn't even try to rekindle anything. He doesn't try to like make me happy or say he's sorry or show up or anything. Next day I wake up to texts saying, hey, I'm going to go play some softball with my friends. Can you put my softball gear on the porch? And I'm like, oh my, whatever. So I grab his stupid softball stuff in the garage, I put it on the porch, I lock the door and whatever. At this point I had changed the locks. I did not tell him that I had changed the locks because I didn't want to antagonize him and cause like a scene because he had already been so antagonistic and I thought he was better, but then he wasn't better. So I was just like, I don't want him to come in the house. He had threatened to take a dog at this point. So I was like, I don't want to have to worry about the dog. So I had changed the lock. So he showed up and his stuff's on the porch. And I expected him to just get it and leave. Then he knocked on the door to come in and he said he wanted to say hi to the dogs. So I stupidly let him in and he rolls around on the floor with the dogs. He's like, oh, dogs. And the dogs are happy, of course, because they're like, they have no clue what's happening. They just know that I'm upset. They see yelling and screaming. They don't know what's happening. They're sweet little babies. They don't know. So I'm like, okay, well, the dogs are happy. Like, that's kind of like a nice thing. And he's just like, well, how are you doing? I'm like, not great. Just, what do you even mean? And then he cornered me, like physically cornered me into a corner and tried to grope at me and was insinuating that he wanted to be physical. And I was like, are you kidding me? At this point, you had already told me that you're talking to other people and that you like them as more than a friend and that I can't look in your phone because of whatever you're doing. So what are you even getting at? And then he says that if I do things to him right now, he will go to therapy. And I'm like, well, screw you. No. Ha! Like, not literally. So, like, no. Like, you need to leave. Like, don't touch me. Get off me and leave. So he tries to grope at me again. I back away into the corner as far as I can. He gets upset, starts yelling at me that he just wants to be touched. And then he says that as soon as I start bringing up that he needs help, he needs to get on his medication, he needs to see the doctor, like, this is not right. He just starts yelling at me that I got places to be. And he just leaves. He just disappears. He just grabs his softball nonsense and he's gone. So this grown 40-something-year-old man is off to go play softball while he's like losing his mind. At this point, I finally reached out to his family. Like, I was like, I can't handle this alone. His dad's not able to do anything. My family knows, but like, they're unable to do anything. He has 2 siblings, one of which is a master's degree in nursing. The other one, I think she works administrative, but she has like an idea and like a background kind of in social work. So I reached out to them. I'm like, look, I don't know what is happening. He is not acting right. I don't know if it's a brain tumor, which is something my birth father had that altered his personality and stuff. So like that's a thing that can happen. I don't know if it's the medication. Bipolar runs in their family. This could be bipolar mania showing its head. Like, I don't know what to do. I am scared. And he's threatening me. Like, because at this point he had threatened to take my house. He had threatened to kidnap a dog. He cornered me and was touching me against my will, all that stuff. So I'm like, well, what do we do? And these people that have been in my life all the time, like I had hosted their children's birthday parties. I had taken care of their children while they were in hospitals and needed babysitters and rubbed their little backs while they fell asleep and hosted them when they had to stay here to go to the hospital to visit each other and stuff. Like, they slept on my couches, like my home, my stuff. Not their brothers. They borrowed my vacuum cleaners. They borrowed my things, like my shop vac. Those were my things that they borrowed to like do things in our home. And here they were, they just radio silenced me. They didn't do anything. They didn't reach out to him to try to stop him. According to him anyway, he says they didn't do anything to try to stop. My baby, I know. They didn't reach out to me to try to help anything, and it was just nothing. So I'm like, well, great. I have just me. I have this betterhelp.org therapist and my family are all like, run, cut your losses and run, because they're smart. They were correct. But I'm like, this is the person I love, and he's sick and he's broken and he needs me. And his family's not helping him, so like, who else is gonna help him? Because I'm stupid. I'm very stupid. I'm very, very, very stupid. I can't reiterate that enough. Like, my major regret is not just like cutting my losses way sooner than all of this. There were so many red flags that I just didn't see. So here we are. He's now tried to like physically assault me in my home. I just changed the locks. This is when he starts calling and leaving threatening voicemails. Starts leaving threatening voicemails that he's going to take me to court. He's going to go after my house because, again, this is my home. It's always been my home. He broke his lease and came and moved in here, like, against my wishes, against any sort of plan that we had. I was going to move into my home that I purchased and live here for a year, and we were going to go to each other's places. He had an apartment. I had my house. This way we could visit each other in our homes on weekends or whatever and see where it went. And he ended up ending his lease. He didn't renew his lease. One time he told me he broke it, but he says that wasn't true. He says he just didn't renew it. And so him and his daughter had to come here and live with me full time, or he was homeless. So that's how he came to live here, which, again, huge red flag. So that was the instance. It's my home. Now he's saying he's going to try to sue me and go after my home and try to take my home from me. He wanted to sue me and take the dogs, like this little Pepper in my lap. We adopted when we were together, but I say we because it was me. I adopted Pepper. I'm the one that contacted the rescue. I signed the documents. I'm the one that met him. I'm the one that picked you. Yeah, I did. And there was actually a big fight when I had Pepper and brought him home. My fiance was involved every step of the dog process. I had shown him the pictures of the dog online. I had to do a Skype interview with the dog people on my phone to show them our home, and he was with me. I had to show him the yard, and I had to show him everything. He drove me almost 100 miles to go to, like, basically New York, but it's still New Jersey, to go and pick up my little doodle bear. And so we go, and he got along with Jack, and so we picked up little doodle bear, and we brought him home. The second we brought him home, bring home my little doodle bear. So the second we bring him home, like, him and Jack have like a snappy moment. Like, dogs have to get used to each other. That's like a thing. They get used to each other. Well, that set him off anxiously. He started yelling at me that he wanted me to get rid of the dog. Well, there's a contract when you adopt the dog. It says that if I don't want him, I have to bring him back to Southern Paws Rescue, which is where he came from. And of course, I don't want to do that. Like, that's just a moment. Him and Jack will figure it out, and they'll be fine. They'll be brothers. They'll be good. And he doesn't want to hear that. He wants me to give the dog away to someone else. Well, legally, I just signed a contract that they could sue me and go after me. And from what I understand, this rescue has done that in the past for people that didn't handle their dogs properly. You sign this contract, that is a binding contract. So no, I love this dog. I'm keeping this dog. You're going to figure it out. So a few days after that, he took it back and he loved the dog. But that was like a moment he started yelling at me. I was crying, and like that was another big red flag later. So like now here he is. He's off his meds. He's manic. He's already made threats against me, and now he's threatening to kidnap this same dog that he told me to get rid of and everything, but now he had come to love. So now I'm like, well, I can't let you out at night anymore. I have to constantly supervise you because he might pluck you from the yard. He's not in his right mind. So I tried calling him again in a desperate plea for him to go to therapy. I'm like, you need to go to therapy. You need to do something. Like, he wanted to book our couples therapist because he had better insurance than I do. So he said he was going to, but then he said he was too busy. Say he was too busy. Say he was too busy. I offered some suggestions. He turned all my suggestions down. He said, well, my people I recommended, like a person we had seen before, he didn't want to go back to that person. I found another person. My BetterHelp person said that they would do it, and he didn't like that. He said that was fake therapy, blah, blah, blah. So I plead with him again, like, look, like, you need help. You need to go to therapy. Like, what will get you to go to therapy? My dog is chasing a fly. So he says, if I get on my hands and knees and cry and beg and sweetly tell him and make it so that it's believable, he wants to believe me when I say it, that everything is my fault, that I am sorry, that I love him, I'll never do any of this ever again, and basically just like subserviate myself to him like forever. Then he says he'll go to therapy. Of course, he's already said all these different things, like all the physical things, like do this and I'll go to therapy, do this and go. So I know it's nonsense, but a part of me just like, I'm like, look, I love you. I'm sorry for anything I said in anger. I want to try to work on this, and I want us to go to therapy. So that's all I did. I was on the phone. I didn't physically go to him. I didn't cry, didn't beg, didn't get on my hands and knees or anything. Like, that's what I said. And he said, like, oh, well, that's not good enough. And I said, well, can you tell me anything? Can you tell me you're sorry for the things that you've said? Like, he had been leaving me threatening voicemails. He had told me he was going to take me on Judge Judy. He left my parents threatening voicemails. He said, like, you need to get your daughter in check to my parents on voicemail. Like, they still have those recordings because we didn't know if the court thing was actually going to happen. So I kept all the evidence. He deleted everything in a rage. I have everything. I have all the text messages. I have all the voicemails. I have all the terrible stuff. So I'm like, can you give me anything to give me a reason to hang on here? Like, can you say, like, do you love me? And he's like, I can't say that. I'm like, then what the hell are we even doing here? If you don't love me, what is this all about? What are we even doing here? Like, why am I even fighting for this? Like, you shouldn't have someone that doesn't want to be with you, like, and you're gonna get married? Like, what is that? So I was like, okay, well, that's it. And he said, well, my sister... Thank you. Thank you for killing the fly. So I'm like, well, that's it then. Like, there's nothing to save here then. If we don't love each other, like, if it's not a reciprocal thing, then it's over. And he said, well, my sister's here with food. I gotta go. And he hangs up on me. And that's it. And that's just it. And then I think like a few hours later, after I guess his sister must have left or whatever, and he was bored or it was quiet at night, he tried to call me again and be like, hey, it's like, so where did we land on everything? And I said, well, you said that you don't love me, and I'm done fighting for this. Like, I'm done. Like, it had been over a month of me trying to fight for this. So I was like, you have to get your things, and that's it. Like, you have to get out. Like, we're done. And then he said I was a quitter. He said, like, for better or for worse, it was nonsense. Like, how dare you, like, not hold up your end of the marriage that we're not even in yet. Like, we did not get married, thank God. But, so he starts insulting me, saying how I'm a quitter, how I'm not suited for marriage, how I'm, like, weak and stuff. And that was kind of the end of that part. So he's supposed to come and pack up his things. He never did. So I just started packing his things. But he kept threatening to sue me. So I had to photograph and pack everything very carefully so that he couldn't legally hold me like, you smashed my plates or something. So I had to wrap everything, photograph that I had wrapped everything, put it all in the boxes. That went on for like a week. And then he came to get stuff. And my parents and my sister and stuff were here. He came all alone in a U-Haul truck, no boxes, no nothing. I'd boxed up everything. I had boxes enough to do, but like I didn't have everything. And I've been doing it all my own. Like after work, I was just covered in like bruises. So at this point, he accuses me of like looking good and like losing weight. He was like, you look taller, you lost weight. And I'm like, well, I'm the same size as the day you left me. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Same me. So... let's see, his daughter eventually did show up, and he was mad that his daughter was late, so he took her belongings and threw them on the lawn. but she didn't see that. So I think she thinks that I threw them on the lawn, but he did because he was upset that she and her boyfriend were late to help him. He eventually did go and get packing boxes and some stuff to pack. He didn't have a storage unit or anything arranged. Like, he had a lot of things. Like, he filled my house with most of his stuff. Like, I didn't want to keep anything. I didn't want to hold anything over me. Like, I gave him back the wedding ring, like, the engagement ring. We didn't even get the wedding bands. So I just gave him everything back because I just wanted him gone. He was manic. He was dangerous. He was threatening me all the time. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I wanted him out of my life. So I wanted everything gone. So just take everything. He kept threatening to sue me, so my mother didn't take that very nicely, so he kept trying to get me to keep things because I think he just didn't want to pack them. I don't think it was out of kindness of his heart, I just think he didn't want to pack them. He was trying to get me to keep wine glasses, which I don't even drink wine. Like, I don't. So, like, why would I want to keep your wine glasses? You just didn't want to have to package up and take your wine glasses. And they were probably from his ex-wife anyways. They probably meant nothing to him. So he was trying to get me to keep his wine glasses. I'm like, no, I don't want them. They're yours. Wrap them up and keep them. There was some sort of incident. I think he dropped one. It smashed. And I didn't know if it was like an anger thing, but it wasn't. It was like an accident. And then he kept telling my mom that, like, oh, well, she can keep these. And my mom was like, oh, you're not going to sue her for them later? And that set him off. And then he went nuts. He started going tirade. He didn't want to talk to women. So, like, my mother and my sister and I were, like, the enemy. He only wanted to talk to men. So my stepdad went over and tried to, like, calm him down enough to, like, get this as far as we could over with. He said whatever was in the garage he was going to take and then he was just going to leave. So we kicked into overdrive. We were packaging up as much as we could, just like threw his stuff in the garage because that could just be open. He could just take it and he could just be gone. He didn't plan anything. So he filled up the truck and there was still lots more, like lots more. So he like went off and he said that he would never come back. He couldn't handle coming back. So he was going to send his daughter and her boyfriend. And I was like, that's fine. So then they don't come for weeks. I have everything finished up out of the house and into the garage for the easy packing. Doesn't come. Then he says like, okay, well, I'm going to come. I say, hey, you said you weren't coming back. I don't want you to come back. To have your daughter and her boyfriend come and get things like you said because they're not scary. Like, they are sane. I'm not sitting here trying to be like, oh, get on my side or something. Like, I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid that they're going to kidnap a dog or scream at me or try to corner me again or do anything. Like, I don't want you in my house anymore. And at this point he knew I had changed the locks and then he was all upset that I had changed the locks. Like, how dare I? And it took until Father's Day to get all the stuff out. His daughter had to come and get the stuff and it took like 4 more car trips of her doing that. And then she just disappeared for a couple hours and I was like, hey, like, what's up? And she's like, oh, well, we're celebrating Father's Day, which is, I asked them to pick what day. And they picked Father's Day. And I said, hey, I don't know if you realize this, but you picked Father's Day. I don't know if you have anything going on that day, but like, that might not be the best day to pick. They're like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. I don't think we're doing anything. But now all of a sudden they were doing something like in the middle of the day that they didn't tell me about. And I just want this over with. I don't think she knew at this point how badly her father had been threatening me and like antagonizing me and leaving terrible voicemails and telling me that he was hooking up with other people. And he had even said to my stepfather he was hooking up with another woman and all sorts of stuff, just trying to be like antagonistic and a jerk. For our wedding, we were going to rent a Tesla instead of a limo because he was all obsessed with Teslas. Well, he went out and bought himself one instead of a place to live. And then he started yelling at me about how he's homeless when he's living at his dad's. He was never officially homeless at all. But he starts yelling at me how heartless I am that he is homeless, but he chose a Tesla over a place to live. And that was his words, not mine. He said it was either a place to live for me and my daughter, or I get a Tesla and I start leasing a Tesla. And he chose the Tesla. So how is that my fault? And he starts yelling at me that it's my fault. But then later he says, like, I've never been homeless. Like, how dare you say I was homeless? You were the one yelling at me that I made you homeless. Like, there was no winning in this situation. So I was like, no, we need to get this over with now. Please come back and get this stuff. I need this done. I hand wrote her a lovely goodbye letter because I cared a lot about his daughter. I still care a lot about his daughter. And that's like been the hardest part of all this, of saying goodbye, like her, but not really getting like a goodbye. So I wrote her like a heartfelt letter and I asked her if she wanted to say goodbye to the dogs because she loved our animals and stuff. And then she said yes. So she came in, she said goodbye to the dogs. And then no hug, no nothing. And she was like, well, I guess this is goodbye forever. Unless I shop at like Aldi, because she knows I shop at Aldi a lot. And she's like, I might see you there. And we both know that's not going to happen. And then that's it. Then she's gone. And I knew it wasn't on her. Her dad's mental illness and stuff is not on her. Even though she was like in her 20s, to me, like she was a child, she was an infant and all this. But like that sucked. Like, that sucked. And then he had these stupid kayaks taken out my backyard, and they were huge, and they took forever to like get him to pick up. And I was like, look, if you're not coming for these stupid kayaks, I'm just putting them out on the curb. Anyone can take them. Like, they're huge. Like, they're these huge like kayaks. They're not. He had 2 yellow plastic like kind of ones you see at Costco, and this like big green one and stuff. So eventually he comes, and I leave him a note on the kayaks that just says like, look, like sometimes like love doesn't work out. Like, I'm very sorry. I still think you need help. Sorry about that. My battery died. So quick costume change. I didn't want to put the wedding dress back on. It's pretty late at night, but I wanted to wrap this up. So the kayaks were still in my backyard. Eventually he did come to get them. There were like 4 of them. They were like huge. And I put a note on them that said, like, I think you're making really bad life decisions. I think your life's going to be really hard. I think you need help. And he sent me a text back saying like, thanks for the note, like he appreciated it. And then he sent me a YouTube link and said, I may not be the guy in your life that makes you happy anymore, but maybe I can be that funny YouTube guy that makes you smile. And oh, the YouTube thing got bad. So he, out of the blue, like he was like in his 40s or very early 40s. And he decided he wanted to be like YouTube famous, and he sent this link to like his students and stuff trying to get like subscribers, and it was bad. There was a video of him like running around the woods trying to hook up with a girl that he met on WhatsApp, and he showed like her user picture and like the WhatsApp stuff, and he made this it wasn't just him like recording himself like walking around. It was edited with like all these different weird sound effects, like robot noises, and he ended up getting like a copyright strike because he tried to use Prince's music, but Prince has like a thing where he won't allow his stuff on, well, Prince's estate won't allow stuff on YouTube. I'm sorry, it's pretty late, but I just wanted to kind of end this. So now he's making all these really sporadic YouTube videos. He's making these public YouTube playlists of songs, and they're all the songs that he used to play for me when we first started dating. So now it's like, oh, well, you look back and everything makes sense. So the wedding was, of course, canceled. Since it wasn't due to coronavirus or anything, all the venue can really offer is like, oh, if it was a COVID related, they can postpone, like you can pick a date next year. So that's like what they offered, but of course we're not getting married, so none of it was refundable. So our entire, like, we had paid all of the payments up until the wedding payment because we were so close. All of that was non-refundable. The wedding dress was non-refundable. You couldn't return it. He handled the DJ, but then he didn't handle the DJ, and then the DJ sent me a text being like, your final payment's due, and I had to message him and be like, you said you're gonna handle the DJ. You didn't, and I'm getting emails and stuff from the DJ, and then he got mad at me that I responded to the DJ. He was like, let me handle this. Well, you didn't handle this. And then he got mad because he thought that the venue owed us money, so I sent him a copy of the contract and everything that he asked for, and then apparently he did nothing. He rage quit and deleted it because like months and months and months, like almost like a year later, he messaged me and he wanted copies of the contract again and wanted me to work with him to try to go after the venue and get our money back. But I had already looked at that contract multiple times. I had talked to them, and I had already looked at the contract multiple times. I had already talked with them, and they were in the clear. We're not getting married, not because of coronavirus, not because of bad weather or anything. We're just not getting married. And that's not on them as the venue. That's on us. So we ruined our deposit, which I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Can't say you're wrong. So had to walk away from that, which sucked. Have a dress. That sucks. I was all excited, and I fit it really well. Now there's all that room because I lost weight, but the netting that has the flowers like matches my skin really well, and it was really pretty. And even now while I was wearing it, like, it's just such a lovely dress. It makes me feel like a pretty princess and stuff. But also it's like, what do you do with that? Like, what do you do with that? I can't save it until I get married to the next person. Like, I feel like it's full of like bad luck, bad energy. Like, I don't know if I believe in karma or anything, but to get married to someone new, who even knows when or if I'll ever get married again. Like, I'm pretty burned by all this. I'm like, is marriage even worth it? So it's like, what if I don't get married till I'm 45 and I don't fit the dress? Like, it'll have to be like let out, and I wear the same dress that I got when I was like 30. Like, I don't, what if that's not even like the style anymore? What if I change as a person? Like, do I sell the dress? Like, they'd have to be like my size or smaller so it could get altered to like their size. And it feels kind of sad to sell the dress. But so like right now it's sat at my mom's for like a year because it kind of bummed me out. But now I got it back, and I think I'll try to do some YouTube stuff in it, try to like reclaim my wedding dress and maybe get my money's worth from it, make some movies, kind of reviews about weddings. I have Ready or Not on deck, a very good wedding dress related movie that I plan on reviewing in my wedding dress. But so that's where things pretty much landed. He never said he loved me or missed me really, and he never tried to come home. He never said sorry. A while afterwards, I reached out and I said like, hey, it seems like you've calmed down. So like, what was that all about? Did you just not want to marry me? Like, what was the problem? If you changed your mind, you could have just told me. And he said it had nothing to do with me. And he kind of said sorry. And like, that was it. Like, that's like the only closure I got. Like, he didn't say he missed me or anything. That was just like it. And then a little while after that, he contacted me and accused me of trying to use his credit. So the cable internet in our house was set up when I was not home. He was paying the bills and everything when he was here. And then I tried to get it transferred into my name when he was gone. And he was very manic and uncooperative, so I thought everything was handled and fixed because everything was in my email. It was coming out of my bank account. Like, I thought it was fine. So the card that I put on file expired. So it sent the notification that my card expired to him for some reason and not to me, even though all the bills had priorly been coming to my email address, like, at that point. Like, I don't know why. So he got notified that it was outstanding and, like, it was gonna damage his credit, I guess. It was only like a month out. Like, it wasn't very long. My card just expired in like July, and it was like August. And I didn't know because the notification didn't go to me. So I asked him, I was like, well, like, what's going on? Like, I'll take care of it. Like, I'll fix it. And then he starts accusing me of having done it all on purpose. That was like a malicious act on my part. He starts being really mean to me, saying that the reason why he and I can't be friends, like him and his ex-wife can be friends, is all this other stuff. Oh, so a major thing I forgot about at this point was that when I was packing all of his belongings for him to pick up, there were all these yellow Staples pads in the basement that I found. And it was nosy of me to have read them. I'll admit that. That was nosy. But this whole time I had been thinking that this was just like a new thing, like a manic phase that came on through all the stress of the pandemic and for him stopping his medication. And it wasn't premeditated or anything at all, or anything. Like, it was just some sort of reaction. And then I found these yellow notes, and they were stream of consciousness writing. He just like wrote whatever was in his head. And some of them were from before we were together. Some of them were from during we were, like, just when we first started dating. There were some after. So like, they were all over the place. And they revealed a lot of really kind of dark, disgusting things about how he thought about the women in his life, how he felt about his ex-wife, how he felt about his sisters, me, his mom, like all the women. And it was really disturbing to read this because these had been going on for decades, like before me, like long before me. And this is what he was thinking of all these women in his life. And it was mostly women. Like, he didn't write about the men in his life other than like as like hero worship. he was like looking up to all these men. Like he always collected all these like men in his life, all these like mentors. He had like an obsessive, I want these guys to like me feeling. As like a grown man, he was very insecure that way. He's like, I want everyone to think I'm cool. I want the kids to think I'm cool. I want the men and my peers to think I'm cool, like kind of stuff. But not really about women. He never really wanted women to think that he was cool. He didn't really care about the opinions of women. And I never really thought much about that until I found these papers and saw that he was calling a lot of us "see you next Tuesdays." I guess I should just say it. He was calling women cunts a lot. And he was talking about how he was using them, knowingly using them for money or some sort of gains of some kind, whether it be financial or residential, like using people for places to live, and how he didn't think that he had affection for anyone, not even like his ex-wife or anything. And the papers I found about me were also really disconnected and like objectifying, but not in like any sort of way that you could imagine is flattering. Like it's not like oh, she's like so hot or anything. Like no, it was like describing me as like an object and how I made him feel and stuff like that. And it was just really disheartening. It was really depressing to find those. And it validated a lot of my fears that I had. But it also kind of destroyed any hope that I had that he was okay and that this was just like a phase. This was just like a thing. It was like maybe a reaction of medication to the other things he was doing. Maybe the person I love is still in there. Maybe like the person I love is like the real person. This is the real version of him, and like this new one who's being so cruel and mean is like the imposter is the problem. But the papers made me realize, like, maybe the person that I thought was the good person was the fake person the whole time, which is really upsetting. And it's not like I'm saying my ex-partner was like some sort of evil genius and he knew all this and like premeditated. I think he's very mentally broken. I think he's very mentally broken. I think he's very dishonest with himself. I think he has a very real problem with being honest about his own feelings and what he truly thinks about people and his own self-image. So I'm not saying like, oh, I was duped by some sort of like madman genius person. I just fell in love with someone who was really lost. And it sucked. It sucked for all of this to end, and it sucks now looking back at everything that we had gone through, and with this new way of looking at it, it all makes so much more sense. Like, I think he was manic when we first met. And that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to think that he was manic when we first met. So he had been on and off with his ex-wife. They had tried a bunch of times to like make things work, and from what I understood, they gave up. They were finally done after like 10 years of trying. She was going back to Australia. He told me that it was done and over with, and that she was the one that ended it because she was interested in someone else and all sorts of stuff. And I refused to start anything with him. I was like, look, like whatever we're doing, like I don't want you to do anything that you're gonna regret. Like if you're still with her or anything, that I don't want to do anything. Like I don't want to date or kiss or anything. And he said, oh, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. And he would call me on the phone and talk to me for like 5 to 8 hours a night. Like my phone would start to die. I had to like talk to him while it was plugged into the charger, and it would get really, really hot against my face. So my stepdad actually bought me my first ever little Bluetoothy earpiecey thing because my now ex-partner would just call and talk to me for so long. He used to call me at my job. I worked at a different job then. And he would call me and try to talk to me for hours on the phone at my job. And I had to tell him, like, look, like, I got to work. I can't just talk to you on the phone. And looking back, it was more so he was talking at me. It wasn't really a back and forth conversation. He was just kind of like word vomiting at me on the phone and lamenting to me about like his friend had moved away and he was sad, or his ex-wife was mean to him, or his daughter's mother, who was a separate person, was being mean. And I was like, oh, well, he's confiding in me because he likes me so much. I didn't think that he would just do it with anybody, but now I think that's the case. I think I was just there. He would ask me to go to diners with him all the time, and he would talk to me at the diners. And I thought, like, oh, like, he really enjoys my company. I think he just didn't want to be alone. And I just happened to be around. And then he asked me to come get snowed in with him, which I thought was like such a sweet romantic thing. I was like, oh, and one of my significant others, I never really thought that far in advance to be like, oh, come get snowed in with me. How cute is that? We can have hot cocoa and stuff. No, he just didn't want to be alone. And then after I was trapped in there with the snow was when he told me that he started changing his medications for the first time. And it was bad. Oh, man. Since we've been apart, I've been able to watch a lot more things that I'm interested in, because we watched what he was interested in all the time. He liked The Wire, which I had never seen because we had about an 8-year age gap between us. So when The Wire was on, I'm pretty sure I was in like middle school. So it was a bit above my level, and I didn't have HBO. So we watched all of The Wire, which I did enjoy. And then I said I wanted him to watch something I liked, like so we could share tit for tat. I watched the entirety, like all, I think there was 3 or 4 seasons, because I think it's 3 seasons of The Wire. He likes the second one the best. And he lied to me about Wallace. I asked him for a heads up about Wallace because I loved Wallace. He lied to me about Wallace just to like make me upset. It worked. I was so upset. So we watched the entirety of The Wire. We watched the entirety of The Office. He loves The Office. I threw him an Office-themed birthday party for his 40th birthday party with like all the Wegmans products, because they use a lot of Wegmans products in The Office. And he watched it all the time, and I would watch it with him because I knew it made him happy. He couldn't even watch one thing for me. Like, not even one thing. Like, Rocky Horror Picture Show is like a really big thing to me. It's like monumental to like my upbringing. It's very like character defining. It's something that I love with like every bit of my being. And he never watched it all the way through once. He made it to the floor show, and that's as far as he made it. He never even tried to like watch it. I asked him to watch, like, he wanted to watch anime because his students liked anime, so like I was cool to them because I knew what anime was. They dressed up just as Soul Eater characters and came to school one time, and I knew who they were. They're like, oh, our teacher's girlfriend is really cool. It's careful because I have to try to like not say names and stuff. So it's like I tried to get him to watch some of that, and he watched some Cowboy Bebop and he liked it, but then he never wanted to watch any more of it. And anything I suggested he turned down. In my own car, I didn't get to listen to music I wanted to listen to. He would put on his music. If he was driving, it was his music. If he was in shotgun in my car, it was his music still. Like, I didn't get to listen to my music anymore. So since he's been gone, I've been listening to music again, and it's been really nice. Like, I kind of forgot. Like, I was so overwhelmed with how everything was constantly just like, I just constantly had to roll punches. Like, there was always something wrong, always some sort of crisis, always like him promising more than he could do, so then I had to pick up slack and like do stuff and promise my services to people, like printing buttons and stuff. And so I was constantly rolling with all those punches all the time. But like when I did get moments of peace in my car, I just turned the radio off and just had silence, because the silence was just like so nice. But now I can sing again. I can sing the music I like. I can watch all the horror movies I want. He didn't want me to watch horror movies. Like, I would try when he wasn't even in the room. He wasn't even in the room. Like, I would be like cleaning the fireplace, and I put on a horror movie that I wanted to watch, and he would wander into the room and be like, oh, can you turn that off? Like, he just wandered in. I'm like, well, look, like, I'm watching it and I'm cleaning the fireplace, and like my hands are covered in crap. Like, no, like, just leave. Like, why are you even, you're in here to grab something and leave. Like, So like I paused it for him while he was in here. And then he wanted me to stop and turn on something else. Like, can't you just turn something else on? Like, well, I want to watch this. It's for me. And that happened a couple times. I would try to watch something just for me in a room where it's just me, and he would wander in for some reason or another, and then demand I try to change it. Or my clothing. There was an instance I came to one of his art shows for his students that he asked me to come to. I get all the way there, and I was wearing a shirt dress, and it has buttons. Like, it's like a shirt dress. It's like very Jane Fonda from like Grace and Frankie. So it's a rather conservative, very preppy dress in the first place. And I had the collar open a little bit, showing off like a little bit of décolletage. And he came over and he was like, can you button that up? And I said, no, it's perfectly fine. It's not like I was like dipping down into like cleavage town or something, and it's not like I have much cleavage anyway. So he reached over and buttoned up my shirt in front of everyone. So all those signs were kind of there. And since I've been watching things I didn't get to watch, I watched like the entirety of BoJack Horseman, which I found I really enjoyed. I found that really cathartic and really healing. And at one point, BoJack's dating, I forget her name, it's the owl. And she says, when you're looking at someone through rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags. And that's kind of how I was. But it was less like a rose-colored glasses thing and more like a can't see the forest for the trees thing. I was so deep in this, and I was so used to like, I have to make it tomorrow. I have to make all of his lunches because he didn't make his own lunches. I had a snack station in the kitchen that I created just for him and his daughter because they would not know what to do if I wasn't home. So like I just put all the snacks that they could eat, and I tried to have healthy options and portioned out things for them in like 100-calorie packs because he would complain about gaining weight and like blame me for like him gaining weight because he had no self-control. It's like if I bought candy that I liked to have in the house, he would just eat it all because he had like no self-control. But it wasn't for him. Like, don't eat it. It's not for you. But that just the fact that it was there was like a bad thing, and it was like my fault. But it's like all these like random things he would get into all these different random tangents, and got into that Iceman guy with the breathing that like Gwyneth Paltrow and the Goop people like. So like he would go swim in our pool, and I would have to time him while he held his breath underwater. And he started taking all these ice cold showers, doing this weird like breathing things. Like he got into meditation, which was one of the better ones. I did like the meditation one. He was doing all these body scans. And so, like, I would talk him into, like, calming down, like, let's do a body scan together. And he'd be all excited, like, really, you want to do one with me? And so we would listen to a body scan and do a body scan. Kind of, what's his face? Contra points is a video about him. She calls him Daddy. I'm blanking on it. But this internet male personality, I forget his name. It'll probably come to me later. I'm just really tired. And he got really into that guy, and he wanted to pay like several $100s to have a private Skype session with that guy. And then he got into cognitive behavioral therapy, and he was really robotic and rigid with the application of it, which is he wasn't guided by anyone that was actually trained in cognitive behavioral therapy. He was just using like books that he had read. He bought all these books, and they started giving out the books to his students like they were candy, but it's like a psychological self-help book, and you're the art teacher. Like, what are you doing? And he went keto for like a week. I wrote a fun food article about that, like him going keto. I tried to spin it and make it like a funny thing, but it was miserable. It was a miserable time when he was keto. It was absolutely miserable because he was so upset, and he was obsessed with like trying to reach ketosis, and we had to go to Walgreens and get like some sort of candy that was sugar-free that he could have because he was so desperate for something sweet. I made all that keto food that was like garbage. I hated it. Like he only lasted like a week, and then he gave up, and then we had all these like fake sugars and ketosis strips and stuff. And it's like I supported every single hobby. He got into drones. I got him nice drones, and he would ruin them. Like the first one I got him was like a $400 something drone, And like that very night I gave it to him. He like took it off training mode because he was like, that's like an insult. I don't need training mode. And like right in the trees. And he didn't fill out the warranty paperwork first. So he had to go inside and pretend to fill it out first. And then like say like, oh no, it crashed after like that. And get it fixed. It did get fixed, thankfully. But like, and then I got him like another $800 drone because like that's me. That's my problem. I like enabled him and I spoiled him and I bought him things that he wanted. So like he was like, oh, I want this like for my birthday and stuff. So I got him like an $800 drone for his birthday. Puts it on the beach and gets sand in the motors and stuff and almost breaks it. Yay. And it's like I've never been like a gift person. I usually get really bad anxiety and depression related to my birthday. So like I don't make a big deal of my birthday. And then he started saying things that didn't make any sense. Like when we were apart during all of his manic like darkness times, it was his birthday. And he was upset that no one in my family had contacted him to wish him a happy birthday, even though we were like split up and apart. And that was after he had been calling and leaving threatening messages to my parents and telling them to like get their daughter in check and all these things. Like, no, of course they're not going to call you and wish you a happy birthday. Also, you're 40. Do you need people to call you and be like, happy birthday? Like, what is wrong with you? So he got upset that that happened. And he contacted me and was like, if this had happened the other way around, you would never let me hear the end of it. Like, I'm some sort of like big birthday person. I'm like, what did we do for my birthday last year? Nothing, because I didn't want to do anything, because I get depressed, and I want to be left alone, and I don't want a cake, and I don't want a fuss. Like, so had your family not reached out and said happy birthday to me, which but they don't do anyway, yeah, I would not have given a shit. I don't understand. Like, it didn't make sense. Nothing he was saying made sense for me. It's because he had no sense of me. He didn't care who I was at all. And I don't know how I didn't see that sooner. Like, I almost married this guy. That's how far we got. And there were some sweet moments. So it's not like it was completely, like, I was completely duped. Like, I'll give myself some credit. Like, there was some sweet moments where he would hold my hand and he was there for me during some dark times. But also, he was really cruel and antagonistic a lot of other times. And I wrote that off as ignorance, or I wrote that off as he didn't mean to do things. And then I found those yellow pads that seem like he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He knew that it was mean things to do to people, or to think about people, or to use people. Like, he knew that. So you can't say that he didn't know any better, that he was just like ignorant in this. Like, that was gone. So yeah. So the wedding was canceled. We got absolutely nothing back. He also made a whole bunch of rambling threats to the venue through phone and email. So, like, that was great. So, we split up. He did not care at all. Didn't even care enough to, like, try to ask me to come back or miss me or nothing. Not even enough to say sorry. Wasted 5 years of my life. I got a wedding dress that I don't know what to do with. It's really pretty, but also it's like, what am I going to do? Just hold on to it until I get actually married? Do you get actually married in a wedding dress that you got when you were supposed to be marrying someone else? Like, do I even want to get married? Am I ever going to get married? Like, I don't know. And he also tried to pressure me into having kids a lot. He always wanted to have kids. He was trying to pressure me into being pregnant, and so we could announce our pregnancy at the wedding, like that kind of stuff. So, like, thank God I didn't let that happen. Like, thank God I was very adamant about, like, that's not gonna happen, because, like, a lesser person, like a weaker person, would have been like, okay, honey, like, yeah, we'll have a happy family. I never expected happily ever after, or like happy endings, or like dreamed of my wedding or anything. Like, my biggest dream in life was to own a house, and I have my house. So, like, that was kind of like it. And I was like, everything else just kind of like icing on the cake. And I thought, like, I love this person and he loves me, and like, I could do this for the rest of my life, which is actually the thought that ran through my head the day that we got engaged. When he proposed, he kind of like fumbled and he didn't really propose, and it was like kind of not about me or us at all. It was like a wacky idea he had. And when he proposed and showed me the ring, I wasn't like, oh, like, he loves me, like, oh, this is wonderful, like, oh, this is romantic. I was like, I could do this for the rest of my life. And that's not how you should feel. That's not how you should feel when you want to commit your life to somebody. You'll be like, yeah, I could do this. Oh, man. That's not how it works. Oh, and also, he was in a cult. Red flag. Like, if every time there was, like, a major red flag, you couldn't do a drinking game or anything with this. Like, you would die. Like, even if you drank water, every time that there was, like, a major red flag, you're like, you should have seen that coming. You would die. Like, you would get, like, hydrosis, too much water, and you would die. Because there was just so many. So it's like, he had, like, an ex-wife. He had his daughter's mother, who were two separate people. He had countless relationships. He never wanted to share, like, numbers. Like, when we wanted to, like, what's your number? Like, he didn't want to share his number. And I assumed he was embarrassed because it was kind of low. But now from what I've seen him do now in his manic states, I'm like, it's probably really up there. So that's why he didn't want to share it. So yeah, there were a lot of red flags, a lot. And I should have seen them coming, and I should have, like, the second he moved in here, I should have been like, that's a no-no. But I was like, we don't fight or anything. Like, maybe this will be good. Like, I haven't truly lived with any of my partners or anything before, and I just got my house, and we've been getting along so well. Maybe this will work. And I don't want his daughter to be, like, upheaved now, because now he doesn't have his apartment. I don't want his daughter to be, like, upheaved and have her whole life, like, changed. So we'll see how this goes. Like, we'll all live together. It'll be nice. That was dumb. So what's the moral of the story? I mean, for me, I've been in therapy for over a year now, coping with all of this. I'm still, like, I have kind of, like, PTSD about relationships now. Like I said before, my past ones have not been great. Like, this is the icing on the cake. Like, this is the top tier, like, worst, like, S-list, like, S-tier relationship. Like, this almost ended up in marriage. I almost married this guy. Had I married him, he would have had rights to, like, half of my stuff, which I was the one that owned everything. So, like, that would have sucked for me. So maybe, like, the moral is, like, prenup. Get a prenup. Even if you think you shouldn't. Like, even if, like, you love each other and it's all happy and rainbows and lovey-dovey. Prenup. Don't trust anybody. Maybe that's the other moral. Don't trust anyone. In therapy, I've been working on boundaries for myself. Because that's a big one for me. Like, I just kind of, like, bend and go with the punches. So, like, okay, well, now you promised your sister her kids could come over and go swimming. Our pool's not even open, so now I gotta hurry up and open the pool after work one of these weeks. Oh, that was actually fun. Okay, I remember this one. So he promised his sister that his niece could have her birthday party here, and it was like a unicorn pool party. So the pool was not open at all. He had, like, nothing to do with the pool. He helped me close. He helped me close it, like, once in 3 years, and that was too much for him. And he questioned me every step of the way and said I was doing everything wrong, even though he had never done it before. And it was a very taxing event. So I'm out here opening the pool at, like, dusk, because I work all day. So I work all day. I come home and it's, like, dusk. It's, like, nighttime. And I'm trying to, like, get the cover off and clean it and get it ready for this party that he promised that his sister could have. And he's in here playing Rocket League. And bats start swooping down at me. And I like bats. So I'm not like, bats. I'm just like, uh-oh, I might fall in the pool. Like, this is kind of dangerous. And I was tapping on the windows, which face in here while he's playing his Rocket League. And being like, could you turn the floodlight on? The floodlight's on there. If the light's on, they probably won't swoop down at me. Like, bang, bang, bang. Turn the light on. And he just waves me off. He's like, Rocket League. Like, so that's the man of my dreams. That's the man I almost married. I was almost Marge Simpson. No one wants to be Marge Simpson. Marge Simpson doesn't even want to be Marge Simpson. So yeah, so that's the story of my canceled wedding and my canceled wedding dress. There's plenty more red flag stories I could tell you. Like, this could go on forever, but the more I tell you how bad it was, the worse I look for having stuck it out for 5 years, I think. So for now, that's it. I'm gonna try to wear my wedding dress and do some YouTube videos to kind of, like, reclaim it, get my money's worth. make it a gimmick, being like, watch me review stuff in my wedding dress for my canceled 2020 wedding, or watch me review wedding stuff, like Ready or Not. Maybe I'll just review bad relationship movies, because I've been watching a lot of those, like a lot of Gone Girl, a lot of Midsommar, a lot of Ready or Not, a lot of Invisible Man, a lot of Promising Young Woman. Maybe that'll be the thing. Maybe that'll be the shtick. I'll review movies in my wedding dress from my jilted ex-lover as I review media where it's like, don't trust men. So, I guess that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh man, I'm gonna lose my voice tomorrow. But I did look good in my wedding dress.